Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Too Short. Make sure you check me out on the Bootleg Kev podcast. Dope show.
Hey, before we start the episode, we're going to remind everybody, man, we got one of the biggest radio shows in the country, syndicated in almost 100 cities, all over. Shout out to iHeartRadio. All right. Some of the latest cities that we've been able to add, man. Want to give a shout out to 93.9 The Beat in Honolulu. That's right. Hawaii. We over there going crazy. I also want to give a shout out Hot 98.3 in Tucson. Shout out to Tucson going crazy. Also want to give a shout out to Wild 94.1 in Tampa. Going crazy. We just got Richmond. We also just got the good folks in Bakersfield at Hot 104.7. So we're going crazy on the radio with my partner James Andre Jefferson Jr. for the Bootleg Kev Show. So make sure you tune in and you can listen anywhere on that iHeartRadio app. That's right. Let's get into the interview. All right, Bootleg Kev podcast, man. We have got a legend. My first favorite rapper of all time. Too Short is in the motherfucking building. What's up, Todd? How you doing, brother?
Run it, man. Just living legendary. For
sure. Yeah, look, man, you're one of them guys, man, who just meant so much to my life and like my childhood. And, I remember the first time I heard cuss words and you were like the only rapper my dad fucked with.
I hear that so much.
Yeah. My dad was like an old white dude, but he fucking loved Too Short.
But I just think it's the shit talking, man. It's the comedy. It's like at the time, it was in this little space where nobody was even doing it quite like I was. So I had a little lane to myself for quite a while.
100%. Yeah, I think obviously there's a shout to the new movie that dropped where our boy Simba plays you.
Yeah.
Did he have to tap in with you? I mean, he has to know your mannerisms, but obviously, like, he killed it. He looked just like you too. Like, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I just named a couple of music videos. He called me, said, I just want to get a little insight. I just named it. I said, watch these two videos and then call Mr. Fab, and whatever he tells you, that should get you there. Because Fab is a good mimicker. He kind of knows.
Good historian.
He can do people's style of rap. He can do your voice. He can do everything. I saw some footage of Fab when he was young, and he was mimicking me. So I'm like, he'd be a good reference for you.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how
He's got the tics. Yeah, I can't tell you how to impersonate me, but you know what I'm saying? Just watch. Exactly. Yeah, you've been watching your whole life. It's crazy. So someone kind of broke it down, some shit you're working on. You and Lil Jon got a whole album coming?
Yeah.
So for people who are not aware, I kind of give you a lot of credit to obviously the Bay Area, but there was this Atlanta era that you were very instrumental in bringing to the forefront of like commercial music and Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I remember that first song I ever heard you on with them. That's my shit. Mm-hmm. Let My Nuts Go. Bitch.
That's super underground, by the way, too, but it was the shit.
Oh my God, that song is a classic. And that was the first, like the end of it when Lil Jon's like, I heard you all on my nuts like a trick. I heard you was a jailhouse bitch. But you had like a lot to do with the crunk era kind of being pushed through on the mainstream front in terms of like, you were like one of the first artists outside of the South that embraced that. I mean, obviously, you worked with 3 6 Mafia back in the day too and all that. But what was that Atlanta? Because what year did you end up moving to Atlanta?
93.
Crazy.
93, yeah. Wasn't a lot of music going on out there. LaFace Records was there.
Outkast.
I mean, Outkast was a year after I moved there. But it was, when I first got there, it was like TLC and Tony Braxton. LaFace was like in a real R&B space. Right. They hadn't yet done Outkast yet. And there was some things moving around. Jermaine Dupri was active, but
So Def was bubbling.
He was just doing Crisscross, right. And it was, it was a good time to be in Atlanta because big things were about to happen. But my whole thing is, a lot of people don't know my connection with New Orleans. My mother's from New Orleans, and I spent a lot of my childhood in New Orleans. So that's a very different sound than anywhere else.
For sure.
With the jazz and the second line dancing and just, my cousins were in marching bands and they were just into whatever, the hot dance, whatever. And right. I just kind of always had that New Orleans culture embedded in me. But I'm growing up in LA, moved to the Bay. I'm getting all these different flavors. And no one really knows this unless you really know the Too Short history. I actually lived in Atlanta for about a year when I was a kid, a little over a year.
Wow.
I was in the 7th grade, part of the 7th grade and part of the 8th grade. We moved there and I guess my mother wasn't feeling the vibe, and we moved back to California. And I just have all these things musically in me from a kid. So when I get to Atlanta and I move to Atlanta, I'm already on, probably my 4th platinum album. So I'm showing up to Atlanta and I'm on like some Michael Jackson status, And
you're one of the biggest rappers in the world.
Yeah, they're just like
93?
loving Too Short. So I'm looking at Bobby Brown out there having fun. I'm bumping into Tupac.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to have me some fun out here in Atlanta,
right.
And had a lot of fun.
Right.
But at the same time, the music scene was accelerating. It was just, the TIs and the Outcasts were just coming, left and right, just new artists, and Atlanta was getting hot. So the reason why I'm embedded in the crunk culture is because I was a fan of Lil Jon as a DJ. He was a pretty popular DJ before anybody knew him in the world.
Right.
In Atlanta. And he was also producing records for So Def. He produced some big records. He was in the scene.
Right.
But I was a real big fan of the way he would DJ because he DJ'd different than other DJs. His whole set was all about the crowd.
Rocking the mic?
Just he was like doing it like a rapper. Like he was rocking the crowd, but he was playing songs and his parties would just go up. And I was like, I like this dude. Then he put out a record. He put out a record called Who You With.
Yep.
And nobody was rapping on there. It was a bunch of chants. So I had not really had a relationship with him at all. We hadn't talked, or we probably said what's up. And I just went to him one day and I said, man, you should let me do the remix on that song and put some raps on there. And he was like, nah, we should just do some new shit. And I'm like, all right, we'll come by the studio. And he came by when I wasn't there. And he just left this song. It had vocals on it. It was the song was called Couldn't Be a Better Player. That's what I named it. But he was just doing those chants. He always did those chants. And he left that record. I rapped on it. I rapped 3 full verses, and we shot a video to it. And it just became like, in that region.
What record was that?
That was
Was that Let My Nuts Go?
No, it was before that.
Because you started that by saying you couldn't be a better player than me, even if you fucked every day of the week.
So Couldn't Be a Better Player was the first song we did.
Got it.
And it just went big. So we just started making records together. Lil Jon, at the time, when he put out Who You With, he signed Who You With. He signed to a small label. And
prior to TVT.
Yeah. And he was having this dispute. They weren't seeing eye to eye. And I always tell people there's no gangster shit involved in nothing. The guy who had the contract with John was somebody that I had worked with.
Right.
And, it was just, I asked Lil Jon what's the problem. They was both saying F each other.
Yeah.
And his version was, well, I spent money on Lil Jon and I'm not budging until I get my money back.
Yeah.
Lil Jon's version was, well, man, I'm not happy, so I'm not making music with him. So I just figured out what the amount was, put whatever the sauce on it, paid him. It was like, man, I got business with Lil Jon. And, he was, it wasn't like I was buying out some super hot artist or something. But Lil Jon had offers on the table, like the TVT and some other stuff, and it was stopping him from getting there. So I basically just stepped in, played the stepping stone. I said, look, I bought you out the contract. You free. I could be like saying sign to me or something, but I would much rather, because he works for So Def. Right. He's a DJ who's breaking records. I realized his full potential. I heard the beats, and I'm like, do what you got to do. Just put me on the forever list of Lil Jon beats. That was my pay. And it paid off. I had people in my ear back then going, man, that's Lil Jon. Why you didn't sign him? You had him. I'm like, no, bro. And then,
it paid off because one of the biggest hip hop songs of all time ended up being Blow the Whistle.
Yeah, and he did Shake That Monkey. So he kind of...
Which is my shit, by the way.
So I'm at a point in my career when he does those 2 songs, 2004, 5 was when we recorded them. I'm like potentially like on the fence. Could I go... fall over with the other OGs who are like retiring one after the other, not voluntarily.
Right. Because you had retired and...
but mine was voluntary.
Stay away. Yeah.
The rap game will retire you.
For sure.
It will park you and nobody will call you anymore. And, those songs gave me like the infinite extension of my career.
Forever.
Yeah. So
No, that's a fact, dude. I think a lot of people don't understand, or they're very surprised when they learn that Blow the Whistle is produced by someone from Atlanta.
So in essence, Lil Jon is, forever like, my guy because of what he's done for me and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, and then he becomes super instrumental in the emergence of crunk music. He is the main player.
He's the face of it.
Yeah. And then he comes over to California and catches wind of the hyphy movement, and he starts giving people hyphy records, not just Bay Area people either. He went and gave Yin Yang some hyphy songs and P.D. Pablo.
He also did Tell Me When to Go, right?
Yes, he did. So he's
I mean, those are. Those are the two biggest Bay Area rap songs.
I wouldn't say those were the best hyphy songs. I would just say,
no, but they're the two biggest Bay Areas. I mean, like
Me and
obviously
E40
you got MC Hammer and all that. But
me and E40 had a phone call one day, and we decided to stamp the hyphy movement.
Yeah,
and we're like, I like what the youngsters are doing. Let's do something.
Because you guys are OGs at that point.
Yeah, let's do something to help it move. He did Tell Me When to Go. I did Blow the Whistle. We did some more little sprinkles of other songs with the vibe, and we supported the movement. We never stepped up and said, this is our movement. It was always the little homies. It was always
the young generation, yeah.
Yeah, it was Mac Dre is kind of up there, but it was still Mac Dre, Keek the Sneak,
right.
And, the Federation and
right.
the Team and all these groups that, like the Pack and all these groups that were thriving at the time. So, I think that helping Lil Jon get in the game, he did it on his own. I just got the obstacle out there.
You're very instrumental in it for sure. And then this new album,
but it helped music a lot. We got a lot of songs for that movie.
Oh man,
for that one thing, he gave us a lot of music.
I go back and listen to Crunk Juice and Kings of Crunk so much.
Yeah,
so much. Those two albums are just, man. And then some of the collaborations he was putting together, like putting Ice Cube and Nas on Grand Finale, and just some of the shit. Like Lil Jon was just throwing so much gumbo into the pot that you wouldn't even expect to go crazy. You'd be like, "Oh, this is crazy!" Like,
yeah, he's got that song "Turn Down for What."
Of course,
and he it sounds like a Lil Jon beat, but he didn't produce that. I think maybe DJ Snake produced it.
Snake did, yeah.
Yeah, but Lil Jon says what, maybe 10, 12 words.
I think he might say 10, maybe 10.
And it's like, he's like, it's the biggest shit ever. All I said was 10 words.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
That's amazing, man. Not a lot of us can make a 10-word song.
Sonically,
a classic.
Where is this album that you guys are working on? Is it more the newer era stuff? Because you guys...
So you got to get the big picture, man. So for a long time now, probably since COVID, I've probably recorded 100 Too Short songs. 75 songs, I don't know.
Right.
But then I also recorded another 50 songs with Mount Westmore.
Right.
And always doing shows, always
you're very busy
on this and that and just doing stuff, but not really announcing to people how much time I really spend in the studio really making dope ass records that I really haven't been putting out, and it's a lot of them.
You're sparring nonstop. Yeah,
I sit people around and start playing Too Short songs. They're like, "What the fuck is your problem? Why is this shit not out?" But there was always a plan, and I knew that the Freaky Tales movie was coming. This has been years in the making. The deal of the process of making the movie has probably been a 4-year process.
Right. No, I remember Simba hit me pretty early on and was like, "Don't tell anybody I'm about to play Too Short in a movie." And I was like, "What?"
So I was on when they were trying to get to the part where they even shoot the movie, before the casting.
For sure.
And I just figured, let's just time this out and wait till the movie comes out, and then I'll start my little movement. So I have a series of albums. It's called Sir Too Short. That was originally my name before Too Short. Right. When I first broke out and I this is me, I was Sir Too Short. I used to write it, tag it everywhere, all over the Bay. Anywhere I would stop for 5 minutes, I would tag Sir Too Short. And I decided to make a throwback album.
Ant Banks?
Well, Ant Banks' production is all over it.
Okay, that's why
I did a lot of music with Ant Banks recently. Yeah. So, and he was, I couldn't do it without him. So
player short shit.
Yeah, so the first installment is the sort of me and Ant Banks flavor. It's real Bay. I knew what the movie was going to be about. I knew the movie was going to be set in 1987. So instead of me trying to, put out an album and Kendrick's coming out next week, I'm coming out the weekend, I'm like, I'm just going to go in my zone and make some OG-ass Too Short shit. So that's what I did. And then I was trying to do one song that me and Lil Jon had recorded about 6-7 years ago. It was laying around. Ghazi from Empire.
Shout out to Ghazi.
Heard the song way back when. So every 2 years he goes, hey man, let's put out that Lil Jon song. I'm like, all right. And then 2 years later, let's put that song out. So once again, knowing I'm getting ready to try to put something out of the movie, he's like, you got to put that Lil Jon song on there. So I called Lil Jon to let's make it new again. And he come to the studio and we did something. I don't even know, we messed with that song a little bit, but we did something. And he's like, I'm gonna leave you some beats. And he just leaves me some beats. This is like on a Monday. I sent him, he probably gave me like 20 beats to listen to. A week later, I sent him like 14 songs recorded. And he was like, oh shit, are you serious, huh? And he sent me like 15 more beats. And I'm like, started recording on those. I'm like, just doing them because they're Lil Jon beats. I'm grabbing everything I got and just, because I've been recording for years. Yeah. I'm like, I got a lot of shit. And then he's like, all right, send me another pack of beats. I'm like, dude, I have more than enough for the album. He said, well, shit, make 2 albums. I'm like, all right, that's what I'll do then. So what happens after the throwback album, So Too Short Volume 1, is the Lil Jon album, which is called Drink and Smoke. And it's a little more up tempo. It's a little more, it's reminiscent of the songs that me and Lil Jon made together. And then it's so ignorant, the topics, the shit talking. All the OGs are like, not all the OGs, but the OG idea is like, you're in your 50s, you should be a mentor, and you should say responsible things on songs now because you have matured. And not Too Short. I'm like right where the fuck I was at in 1988. I can't see being a character called Too Short and then making the character grow the fuck up.
Yeah, and also like your fans who are like, I mean, I'm 38, I obviously was listening to you when I was a very small child. Shout out to my parents for, whether or not they were being good or bad parents for that is, but people 10 years older than me, people 5 years older than me, like they don't want to hear Too Short. Like we love Short for sure. Like it's like, I just had that conversation with Cube when he was up here because I thanked him. I was like, hey man, thank you for this new shit sounding like Ice Cube and not sounding like you were trying to do some young head shit, Yeah,
Will Smith was asking Kendrick for advice. He's like, shit, just talk shit.
Yeah, be true to yourself.
Just talk shit, bro. So they're gonna talk about the lack of maturity, whatever, in the subjects and the language and whatever. But then Volume 3 is actually gonna be that thing that they think a grown rapper should do, and songs like The Message and Life Is Too Short, and with the concerned lyrics.
I mean, even Getting It's like a motivational, like
it's I always balance my career
for sure
by talking the most extreme shit, and then talking the most intelligent shit,
100%.
And the last album is just I make those kind of songs.
It's game.
So I just I'm gonna get my grown man on the way out. I want them to talk a lot of shit. I want somebody to talk shit, and like, oh, that's just so childish or too short to
drop that shit.
To in the environment in the world today, he's putting out all these negative shits about pimping and hoeing. Hey, it's too short. If I was making movies, I wouldn't fucking, change Batman to fucking to do something that Batman wouldn't fucking do. Right. Goddamn, you got a character, run the character.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Hey, real quick, want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, man. Salute to the family at Slap Woods. That's right, we love Slap Woods because they slap, man. The only leaf, the only wrap that we smoke. All right, so check this out. I want to do a giveaway. If you're watching this is what we're gonna do. If you go buy yourself a Slapwood from the smoke shop, the corner store, wherever, you tag me in it, tag Slapwoods, and tag the Bootleg Head Podcast. That's 3 accounts you gotta tag on your story or on your post. I'm gonna be looking out for it. I'm gonna pick 3 people to send a box of Slapwoods. We're also gonna send y'all a Bootleg Kev 500 episode t-shirt and some Bootleg Kev odd socks. All right, so make sure you go follow Slapwoods. Go show them some love, and we like to say much love, man. Hey, look, we rocking with them Slapwoods, baby. You already know. It's the Bootleg Cat Podcast. Let's get back to it. I want to shout out to our good folks over at Odd Socks, our family. Ooh, Lay's potato chip socks. What else do we got here? The Bob Rosses. Shout out to that. Looks like Ritz. We also have some of this. Anyway, if y'all don't know, man, Odd Socks are OG sponsor. They're our day ones. They're our family. They just had a birthday in December, celebrating 11 years. The crazy shit about Odd Socks is I've been with them since they was like getting it out the mud in Tampa, Florida in like 2014. Fast forward, they're one of the biggest sock companies in the world. And we're hooking up all of our viewers with a dope deal with Odd Socks, the most comfortable socks in the world, the craziest licenses. Go to oddsocksofficial.com, use the promo code right now. It's Bootleg, and you'll save 20% off. Of course, the underwear's on deck. Shout out to the undies. We got all the undies. They got the slides now. They got belts. They got all kinds of crazy shit at Odd Socks, man. Oddsocksofficial.com, promo code Bootleg. Save 20% off at checkout. And by the way, if you screenshot me an Odd Socks order that you used with our promo code, throw me a pair of Bootleg Kev socks. Give me a pair. Give me a pair over there. If you can screenshot an Odd Socks order and send it to me, the first 5 people that do that, I'm going to send you on the house a free pair of Bootleg Kev socks. Yeah, why not? Support my people. I support my people. You feel me? Let's get back to the interview. So when is the, like, in terms of when you're going to start rolling this stuff out?
The first volume 1 drops April 18th.
So that's Friday.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
And I'm dropping a single this Friday. It's called Still Mackin'. And then they all got to come out before the end of the year. So
I love it.
They'll be 90 to 120 days apart. 3 to 4 months.
What is it, man, at this point in time in your career, like, what is the motivation? A lot of people get comfortable. A lot of people get lazy. They stop going to the studio. Why do you still have the drive? What is it that you attribute that to?
Longevity. I stayed in the game so long that I looked around. I see everything that's going on. I've seen all the people that came and went. I've heard all the chitter chatter about hip hop's limitations and how far I can go. I remember when you couldn't be a 30-something-year-old rapper because they're like, what your old ass doing rapping?
Right.
Now we have very successful rappers in their 40s and 50s. And I just think that when you look at people out there just pushing it constantly on the road, Tretch, people staying in the limelight, Fat Joe, E40s, and you know what I'm saying? KRS-One got 20-something albums and is always, speaking hip-hop and always relevant, So it's like, Rakim
he just
still got
album,
it.
Yeah.
Redman is dropping dope ass freestyle and album. Like, I just think that we have to make we have to own the narrative of like, when does hip hop expire? When does an artist expire? And the only way to do that is to live it. We the generation who's poised right now to tell a story to the infinite version of it. Like, who's going to be the first rapper who is rocking the crowd at 72 years old? Somebody's going to do it.
Well, also too, like, you're kind of, I mean, I know we mentioned like Rakim and those guys, but like in terms of like cultural relevance from your era of music, Cube's in the mix, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, wherever club you go to in the country, right, you're going to hear Blow the Whistle.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are. It could be a white club. It could be a hood club. It could be a bar mitzvah. It could be a basketball game. It could be anything. Blow the Whistle is getting played. And you have such like a position in like culture where it's like, it's almost like the Snoop Dogg effect. Like when people be like, oh, Too Short. Oh, I love Too Short. Like, everyone loves you. Like, yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like to be able to kind of have that kind of grace with the public.
And that's something that you don't work at. You just make good music, and you remember that thing about you got to have the biggest ego and be humble at the same time. Yep. Like, a lot of people can't do both of those. You got egomaniacs, and then you got people like zero humility, and they just come in and just shit on people, and it's just it's not a good energy. And I think that I always put that good energy out. I've always never been too much in a hurry to take a picture or listen to somebody's 60-second story about a Too Short experience.
Yeah, like back in the day, I ran into you at this mall.
I understand that from the start. I understand that it's going to come around full circle. I used to do this thing where it was just an experiment. It was my first time going on tour. And everybody's like, too short, short dog. And I said, I'm going to do this thing where I'm going to tell all these beautiful women, hi, my name is Todd.
Yeah.
And just, they're like, that's the dumbest shit ever. Why are you doing it? And I'm just like, because at some point, it's going to be a bunch of beautiful women walking up to me going, hi, Todd. And I did this shit for years.
Right.
I just was like, oh, hi, my name is Todd. And they're like, oh, that's your real name? Yeah, Todd, how you doing?
Yeah. And
I just said this shit forever. And then all of a sudden I started going places and it'd just be some fine chick across the bar. Todd, hey, I ain't seen you in a while. And they're like, how the fuck you know her?
And it became this thing.
Yeah, and it was just part of the Too Short mystique of like, how do you do this shit, bro? And it's just little fucking just player shit. I studied some OG players and I came up with my own version.
Yo, you're an artist who has a unique connection with, I look at like a group like Bone Thugs. Like Bone got to work with Biggie, they got to work with Pac, they got to work with Easy, of course. But you had such an incredible working relationship with Biggie. But then you also, I mean, one of the most underrated chemistries, I think, when we think back to albums and the amount of songs you guys did, you and Jay-Z had a run together where you guys were on
about 3 songs with Jay, 3 songs with Big.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty crazy. Like, first let's start with the Biggie relationship, because I know one of Biggie's last interviews, actually his last interview was in the Bay. I believe it was at Cameo before he passed. Right? Yeah. But what was, and obviously, you've had Diddy on your shit, obviously prior to the craziness, but you had such a connection with Biggie and Puff and those guys. Like, how did that relationship kind of start? And
I really got to give 100% credit. Now, I'll go 50-50. Half of it was Biggie reaching out to me, and the other half I would have to give it to Eric Sermon, because he was my neighbor in Atlanta. We made a lot of songs together. He really, the first song that New Yorkers ever liked me in by the masses was a duet with me and Eric Sermon. But the thing that really happened, Biggie called me. Nope, he didn't call me. He had Puff call me, and he said, Big, want to do a song with you. And I'm like, cool. And we made the song, The World Is Filled.
Yep.
So that actually just like makes all these New Yorkers go, oh man, I fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And it just became, I fuck with you.
Yeah.
And then I do this song with Jay-Z, Real Niggas Do Real Things. And then that opens up another door. I do a song with Lil Kim, Call Me, for the Booty Call soundtrack. And now I'm like sort of okay in New York. So me and Eric Sermon had a song called Buy You Some. So now I got like 4 joints out of all these years of New York ignoring the fuck out of me.
Right.
Got about 4 joints, but these 4 joints are with the hitters.
Heaviest, yeah.
And then the phone starts ringing, and they want me on the Foxy Brown album, and I'm just doing songs with New Yorkers. So it was Biggie, because he was the hottest motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then here I am with Big on a song. They're like, well, shit, I got to get Too Short on the song, because also the word was out that I had 10 platinum albums, but it was like 6 platinums, 4 gold.
Right.
And, folks are just like, it was the feature thing was starting to pick up. We didn't used to do features back in the day.
Right. Yeah, so because obviously nowadays a lot of features get done over email. Back then, were you able to like be in the studio?
No, yeah, you pretty much, all the features were done in person.
What's the studio session like with Biggie, the first one?
The World Is Filled. The song was recorded at Bad Boy Studio, Daddy's house in New York. I got to the session. I had one of my homies with me, and it's people. It's like a vibe. It's people in the studios, weed, smoke, liquor, the usual session. And Puff Daddy is on the first verse of the song.
Yep.
Carl Thomas is on the hook.
I was wondering who did that hook. The word is,
yeah, Carl Thomas. And the hook is already done, and Puffy's excited. He's always like high energy.
Yeah.
When he's in the room, he's like playing this shit, loving it. Everybody in the room is agreeing this is one of them ones. And I'm sitting there, my usual routine, grab a pen, paper, and just start vibing. The song is the hook is saying the world is filled with pimps and hoes.
Yeah.
We just talk about those I know, and it's just, Puff comes on, he's talking some slick shit about balling, being a baller and shit.
Yeah.
And then Big goes in there. Everybody's laughing and drinking. He goes in the booth without like writing anything.
Right.
So I'm thinking, I don't know this shit about the rhyming with no paper with him.
Yeah, no pen. This is new.
Yeah, him and Jay-Z and all them would soon make famous, but it wasn't famous on this day. I didn't know about it. So he's just sitting around drinking and smoking. He goes, I'm ready to get in the booth. And I'm like, what the fuck does he mean?
He ain't writing nothing.
Like, and he goes in there and he announces, because everybody's a little tipsy and having fun. He's like, I'm going to do this shit in one take. And he goes in there, says a couple of lines, and I guess messed up or didn't get the line right. And he said, run me back. And the next take, he runs his shit front to back, 16 bars. And when he comes out the booth, it's like cheers and claps, and everybody's like, whoa, that shit. And I'm like sitting there with an empty piece of paper.
It's like this.
And I'm like, the whole song is done. Now the song has a blank 16 bars. Everybody's in the mood, smoke in the air. Ain't nobody pressuring me, but
Right.
I'm pressuring
You're
me.
pressuring yourself. Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I go to my boy, and I'm like, that shit was dope. You kind of ripped that shit. I was like, man, I ain't even wrote nothing. And my boy, he's from Oakland. He said, shit, listen to the hook. I'm like, okay. He said, none of them, ain't nobody on the song said anything about what the hook is saying.
Right.
And I'm like, light bulb, okay, I'm just going to write the story of the hook.
Right.
So I told a story about some pimps and hoes I know.
Yeah.
And in the end, I start talking some shit about some pimps and hoes I know. And then I come out the booth and they like, oh shit. And I'm like, okay.
You stayed on theme.
Yeah. So my guy, my guy's not a rapper, not
Right.
a songwriter, but he's been in many sessions with me, and he's a gamer. He got game.
For sure.
So he's like, then spit that game. Like one time I was writing a song and he's like, what you gonna write about? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, shit. He's like, I'll tell you a story. He's like, when I was in 5th grade, I used to steal cigarettes at the store and then go around selling cigarettes to adults. That's how I got money. And I'm like, okay, I wrote a rap about it. Little nigga in the 5th grade selling cigarettes. That's in one of my songs. But that's how we used to get down. So The World Is Filled became a classic, and it was one of those times where I'm not trying to jab with Biggie lyric for lyric in the studio. I know what I'm up against when I do songs with these super lyricists. But I always spit game, always.
For sure. It's funny because then you end up in the studio with Jay-Z, who does the same kind of thing.
Yep.
And you must be like, yo, what's up? These New York motherfuckers, they'll be writing nothing down. Like,
And then with Jay-Z's song, I actually sent him the verse.
Okay.
The Real Niggas was a song that was written when I got the demo version.
that was the one on Volume 1, right?
I can't remember all that.
And then Volume
shit.
2 you were on, It Was All Good just a week ago, which is my
But
shit.
that song was written for him to do a duet with Scarface.
Oh.
And you always say the stories about Jay-Z and UGK, and these people didn't want to do songs with certain people because they thought they weren't friends of Tupac's. And it was always this thing of, I'm riding with Tupac. At that time, it was so East-West.
So that was like an actual thing that people were cognitive of.
Some people. Like, usually, Pimp C was really on that. And I don't know. I think Scarface, it was partially because he didn't like to fly on airplanes at the time.
Right.
And then, I guess you gotta like, some people was just like, I gotta ride for the side I fuck with.
Right.
And it just was like that. I can't tell you if that was Scarface's motivation, but he didn't do the song.
But you kind of fucked with everybody at that time.
And in that song, Jay-Z says something about Short. He says something about Short Dog. But there was a version where he said Scarface that I heard, and I knew Face wasn't doing it. But then even when I get in the studio with Scarface, E40, all these motherfuckers just drop gasoline on the track and look over like, what you gonna do now? And I just always slide in there and I never try to out rap them. I just spit game, and it always works for me.
Well, you're also like one of the greatest storytellers in hip hop history.
I do that too. I give you a lesson by example by using a story, and I know that when I'm on songs with other rappers and they doing all this great wordplay, I'm really just gonna.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Paint
raw.
you a picture or something, and it's me. It's my.
That's your style.
Yeah. So I like to whenever I get on a song with a super rapper, I like to dumb it down a little bit and twang the words a little bit. I'm doing that thing, man. And I'm like, I'm not going to battle you, bruh.
Yeah. Yo, one of my favorite songs that you ever put out was one of the best stories ever told on record, Blowjob Betty.
That should have been a movie.
It should have been a movie for people who haven't heard the song. Please go listen to it. It's essentially about Too Short had a girl who he had to kick to the curb because she was tripping. And she ended up...
she was a hoe that liked to fuck for free.
Yeah, because she was a real hoe, right? And it all wraps up with Short running into her in a bathroom after she gets done serving a bunch of strangers. And Too Short says, "One more go." And then... busts a nut in her mouth. She chokes on it.
Shot that fatal nut.
Yes. She dies. Too Short doesn't find out about it until later when he sees that. Was it the newspaper or the news? I forget. And it
was on the news. A young girl died just last night.
She choked on sperm in her windpipe. Sorry to say, there's no suspect. I busted a nut and killed the bitch. Anyway.
You know what? When I wrote that song.
Please tell me yes.
When I wrote that song, the first thing I wrote on the paper was I busted a nut and killed the bitch. That's the first thing I wrote. I said, this is going to be the last thing I say in that song. And I wrote the song to catch up to that one line.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Because you know where the ending's going.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I thought of that and I'm like, I got to do something with this. Wrote it down, busted a nut and killed the bitch. That's what we're going to get to.
Did like fans take that and like, there wasn't Google back then, but was there any like lore that this was like a true story kind of, or some semi-true?
Well, I mean, truthfully, people really in the 80s and 90s, they really thought I pimped a lot of hoes, and they really thought that all that shit was real.
I thought that for sure.
It's just like that's because hip hop still had that mystique about it.
I assumed you were. I mean, man.
But I used to hang with a lot of pimps, and it was very pimpish. But you know, I had a really good job. I used to like cops would harass me a little bit,
right?
And I'm like, bro, I got a really fucking good job,
right?
I'm like, why would I sell dope? Why would I pimp hoes? I get a fucking, $1 million check every fucking 6 months. What are you talking about?
Yeah, plus you grow up in the Bay, so it's like you're telling the story of like a culture from a place that's like very much pimps and hoes.
Yeah, I was very fortunate enough to end up in Oakland, California, and a lot of Too Short is the story of Oakland. It's not the story of me. It's me looking at Oakland and interpreting what I'm seeing in songs. Like I literally could just think of some shit that happened and write a song. And that's how exciting Oakland is when I'm coming up of age, and it's not, the streets. It's always been a wild city, but you could go out and venture through the city. You're not gonna worry about getting killed or any kind of problem happening somewhere. I just had
it's rough right now for sure.
I just had free roam of the city, and it was like a blank canvas, and I wrote hundreds of songs about Oakland.
Yeah. It's interesting too because you were kind of, the first rapper, at least one of the first rappers, to really, cuss and talk the way you talked for real. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you were technically you were pre-NWA, right? Before, I don't.
Technically
in the streets.
Tapes,
in the streets.
I was famous in Oakland at the same time. Run DMC and LL Cool J were famous,
Yeah, essentially like the West Coast, it starts with Too Short and Ice-T. Yeah. Right? Is that fair?
Well, no, you got you remember you had LA was making a lot of dance music. It was
I'm talking about just like rappers like that, like we would know.
I got I got an Egyptian Lover and LA Dream Team,
right.
And, even when Dr. Dre and they were doing a up tempo thing.
The World Class Wrecking Crew,
they would. I was buying those records. I was still in high school, but I was a rapper. I was a pretty popular fucking rapper around the Bay at the same time. So, Ice-T was one of the first rappers I met that was like on, because he did breaking and he was doing like a 6 a.m. and all that shit, and he actually like chopped it up with me, gave me some game, and I was motivated after having a conversation with, young Ice-T, young Too Short. And I always remember that. He would do that with a lot of us. Just give us a little game about what we're getting into.
Also a player.
But,
some player shit too.
I do consider myself fully a part of the West Coast emerging as a hip-hop powerhouse. I do.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're like... what were the blowback being one of the first artists to have I mean, you named the song Cuss Words, right? Like that's something that it's like, hey, we're cussing on songs. This is not of the norm per se. Like,
yeah, the legitimate journalists who had all the attention because they were in the hip hop publications,
right.
And it could be fucking, I don't know. Everybody said this shit. There's like, this guy Too Short. He really can't rap, and he just curses, and basically, the album would come out and it would go platinum. And then I put another one out and they go, he's, the music's mediocre. You don't think this style's gonna last too much longer. And then I had this big
crazy
record, another platinum. I'm talking about 5-6 platinums in a row, and the review is still coming out pretty mediocre, can't really rap that good. And I'm like, stupid motherfucker, I'm rapping like this on purpose because people can hear what I'm saying and they feel it and they learn every word, and I'm spitting game and the bass is hella deep, and they like missing the whole point that we have all these different styles of rap.
Yep.
And you have these lyricists who the wordplay is infectious, and you fucking want to learn it and rap along with it.
I even feel like though back then, like if we're talking like 87, 88, 89, it's like LL, you got Kane, you got
Rakim,
you got Rakim. But I always felt like your music was it resonated so clearly. Like you said, like you would say the flyest shit in the simplest way, where it'd be like, oh shit.
But there were a lot of hip hop heads who were like 1 to 10. Okay, I just saw the Kool Moe Dee report card. I never even knew about it.
Yes, back in the day, yeah.
I got a C+. And I'm looking at his categories. I'm like, of course I would give me a C+. But he was missing categories like, how the fuck you just rock that crowd,
right.
Or how the fuck you make a song that motherfuckers in the hood love that don't need a radio station and
right.
shit. And if he could have seen the foresight to the future, it should have been a category on there called longevity, because I'd got an A+ in that motherfucker. And I just always knew, man, I this is what I'm telling you, I always knew that I didn't want to be a lyricist, that I could easily put the words together right. And spit the flow, but that lane was taken. And I'm sitting there like, I chose to represent this Oakland style of like pimp shit, street shit, and I'm like, that ain't the way people was talking. I'm gonna talk like the pimps talk on the song. And fucking, like, I would just, my get back was always live in concert. I'm like, just get on the show. I never would be the headliner. Mostly I wouldn't be the headliner. We'd have these shows with like, 10 right. groups. And I'm like somewhere in the middle. And I'm just like, just watch. The motherfucker that go on before me and the motherfucker that go on after me, it's gonna be a problem for y'all two motherfuckers. And probably all night. Like, I would just take pride in just going out there. Everybody like dancing and DJs and tricks and spinning around. Shit, I just walk out there. You don't even got to introduce me. I just walk the fuck out there and start rapping, and the whole crowd is singing every word. And I'm like, I just rap. I'll stop rapping and just let the whole house sing it and just tell the crowd to say shit. And they're like, who the fuck are you? And then I just keep it real nonchalant. What's up, man? Now, player.
And you damn near
we're from Oakland.
kept the lights on at Jive, man.
I'm one of those artists who saved the label one year. They had
for sure.
They had a bad year, and I had a big record.
I just remember like I got that Jive logo and the way all the CDs kind of look the same. I just remember it was you and 40 would always have the Jive logo on your shit. Like as a kid, I'm like, yeah, I didn't even know anybody else was signed to Jive for a while.
Well, a few people signed to Jive because I was on Jive.
Yeah, I
straight
bet.
up.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
like UGK.
Yeah, UGK was on Jive. That's right.
Because Too Short was on Jive.
Wow.
That was the only reason.
Hey, want to give a shout out to Hardin, man. Listen, if you're in Vegas, the #1 dispensary in the world, the craziest selection of premium cannabis that you'll ever find anywhere. And the best part about Hardin that I love, man, first of all, if you're going to go over there, mention my name, follow him, Hardin_Las Vegas. But what I love about Hardin is you go in there and you're never going to go to another place that's more educated on the weed that they're selling you, right? So maybe you are going in there and you're dealing with anxiety, or maybe you're going in there, you're dealing with inflammation. Maybe you're going in there, you just want to get a little trippy. I don't know. They're going to break down the terpenes for you and tell you which one is best for what you're looking for. It's crazy. Best bud tenders, best place in Vegas, best place in the United States. If you hit Vegas and you hit that taxi at that airport, take me to Hardin. Follow him, Hardin_Las Vegas. Check him out, HardinLasVegas.com. Shout out to the Hardin family. What are studio sessions in which it's Too Short and Pimp C like in life?
Pimp C is serious in the studio. He's very serious. He's not slow by any means. It happens quick. Pimp C could make beats. He made a lot of funky ass beats.
Amazing producer.
Pimp C also sings. And
right.
You hear the song like it's funky, but just listen. He's in the studio singing like he's still in the fucking high school choir on those songs. And he's really putting his all into it. So Pimp C is the kind of motherfucker that come to the studio and first thing he want to do is smoke some weed. That's why we say that on the songs. We like, smoke something. Like he really would.
Smoke something, bitch.
That's not just a tag. He really would say that when he walk in the room. Shit, then we walk in and smoke something, man. What's that? And he just immediately is like, well, we make it. If it's something on, he's getting involved. If it's nothing coming through the speakers, he like, man, hook this shit up, man. Let's say he just immediately start kicking out a drum pattern, put a bass line on it, and he got a hook for it immediately, and we're making a song. I think most of the songs I ever made with Pimp C, he's doing the hook, because that's how it always went down. He was just quick like that, and he's also one of those guys who he's like me in a sense that he's not finna lyrically beat you down with this vocabulary and this cadence, but when he goes in the booth and comes out, it's just fire. Like
I think of that song "Murder" with him and Bun, which is I just posted this song like maybe a week ago. I was listening to it and I was like, "How's this? It's two of the best verses ever, but for different reasons." Like Bun B was more of the like intricate.
He's a lyricist.
Yes, but Pimp C shit just hit.
So
still Pimp C.
It's
bitch,
two people
what
that
the fuck is up.
A lot of people can do it.
Yeah,
but it's two people that always distinctively make a record and make you bounce when you hear it. Like you want to bounce to the beat and. The record, a lot of song producers make the beat bounce. But if you take like MJG from A-Ball and MJG, every time he raps, the fucking beat just start bouncing. Same thing with Pimp C. Like Lil Jon told me a secret one day. He said, I was in the booth rapping and I'm just rapping to the song. And he like, if you want the song to bounce, you got to bounce while you rap the lyrics. So he's like, you ain't in there bouncing. So
you
now
ain't feeling it. Yeah.
I got to bounce and do the shit, and now the lyrics start bouncing. He's like, yeah, like that. Lil Jon taught me some shit in the lab. I remember we made Shake That Monkey, and he gave me the beat. There was no hook on it. And I came to the studio when he wasn't there, and I recorded 3 verses with a hook, whole fucking song. Come back the next day, and he is there, and I play it for him, and I don't even think he let the whole song play. He was like, click. He's like, that's not the idea I have for that beat, and just
goes and does the hook.
Dumped my shit, and then he goes in there.
Gives you a classic hook.
He goes in there and does the hook, which is him fucking. He does like 50 takes and consolidates them and makes it sound like 100 people. And he's like, that's the song. So I went back to the hotel. We were in Miami. I wrote Shake That Monkey. I came back. He's like, that's the song. Okay. So that's how we record. I really like working with producers that produce. I work with a lot of beat makers who give you a beat and then I end up producing it. But I like working with producers who, the Jazzy Faze and Ant Banks and
for sure.
Producers who tell you words are cool, but the flow is wrong, or do your voice like this on that part right there, or switch that line and say that, just little shit that makes the song better, and they produce the song. Because I am very much a producer who doesn't ever really want credit for it. I produce damn near the majority of. I produce a lot of Too Short songs.
For sure,
a lot. I made the beats, and a lot of ones that people gave me the beats, I still went and produced the fucking song. But I like when I'm working with somebody who's telling me how to make a song, because I can make these Too Short songs all day, but I want the different flavor. By every now and then I would let one of the homies write a song for me. Like, why you gotta let a homie write the song? So I have a different flow on certain songs. So every album I ever made, I probably let one homie write me a song just to get a little different shit. Father Dom wrote some songs for me. Dangerous Dame wrote some songs for me.
You end up putting out this album that's on the desk. Shout out to Getting It, which it might be my favorite album of yours. This was supposed to be your last album, right? This was the retirement album?
Yep.
Album number 10.
Not a lot of rappers had 10 albums at that time. I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, because this is 96.
Nope.
So that's... Fuck. Yeah.
I don't think
to have 10 albums by 1996 is insane.
Yeah, I don't think any one artist had 10 albums yet.
Plus, you had the Dangerous Coup album. Like, by the way, great album. But you take that hiatus, and then you come back with Can't Stay Away, which had some shit. Jay-Z's on that album. I think Jermaine Dupri's on that album. What brought you to the point in 96 to be like, this is it, I'm out? And then take me through those 3 years where you get pulled back in and you make Can't Stay Away.
Well, it wasn't even about retiring. It was about announcing a retirement. You thinking you want to do something, something that rappers don't do. And I'm like, I know.
You're the first guy to fake retire.
Yeah, so, Master P did it. A few people did it after, but it was just an ideal. I'm like, I say it on the beginning of the album when the song Getting It comes on. I'm like, it's getting close to the end, y'all. It's the last album.
Yep.
It's just bait because I'm talking shit that the album was supposed to be named album number 10, but getting it came out so amazing. With Parliament Funkadelic. They shot the video.
One of the
with
greatest hip hop songs of all time.
And we just like, you gotta name this album this because it's gonna be a big record and it's gonna get you more sales.
Right.
So we compromised and album number 10 is in parentheses. But the whole thing was just popping my collar. 10 albums. Of those 10 albums, at this was about to be the 6th platinum. So at the time I'm coming up with this concept, I've already got 5 platinum albums and I got like 1 or 2 gold albums at the time. And I'm like, when I announced that I got 10 albums, I retire, I'm the winner. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ahead of everybody in the count. The guy who was like, he can't rap, the guy who's like, he can't do it again.
It's like your victory lap, kind of like on the industry.
And I'm just slapping all the haters in the face with actual numbers.
Like, this is album number 10.
This is fucking numbers. So the kickback was, I did a lot of features after this. I was getting probably like this mid-90s. I'm getting, 40, 50, even up for a feature just to come on somebody's album and do 16 bars. And that was my hustle for a while. I was in New York. I'm doing deals about labels and budgets and shit and fucking with it, getting all kind of people paid and shit and just willing and dealing. But it was never any intention of like retiring. It was a marketing ploy. So what we did with me and Jive Records and everybody whose mind was working on the campaign was we literally said Too Short's retiring and instantly got the entire media all the way across the board to give us free advertising. And that's exactly, we held a fucking retirement party, heavy media invites. We held a press conference, heavy media, and the story went everywhere. The fucking album came out the box platinum. So that wasn't really a retirement. That was just. And then 3 years later, you do the opposite. Too Short's return album. It can't stay away. It gives you like a whole other free advertising play, like. And through these different phases of my career, which I think that was a very big turning point. Moving to Atlanta was a turning point. Yep. Coming back in 2004 and catching some heat with Shake That Monkey, and then a year later Blow the Whistle, and that just kicked in a whole new phase. Right. And and even now, like, I feel like whatever I did before 2020, I dropped an album called the fucking Pimp Tape. Yep. And the Pimp Tape did good for me, made me a lot of money. It was some good looks, had some nice little features and shit. But when the 2020s came in, I started thinking, well, damn, I had a lot of traction in the 80s. Major run in the 90s. It was a lot of love for Blow the Whistle, Shake That Monkey in the early 2000s. The 2010s, I was pimping the shit out of Blow the Whistle and Shake That Monkey forever. Got a good little look. Did the duet album with E40.
You also have some like other like Gangsters and Strippers is a classic.
Yeah, and I dropped some underground albums that they vibe. I was really doing a lot of making a lot of money off with Empire off of just digital only releases, which, you know, no matter where it got to these pockets.
Right.
And then the Pimp.
And then you and 40 have this, like, obviously, yeah, you guys are like putting out joint albums together, and you guys are synonymous with each other.
Yeah, the Pimp tape comes out. I'm active in the 20 teens, and then I'm like, okay, we're doing this thing, like I was naming the E40s and the Fat Joes, where we're trying to write the story of how old can a rapper be? How long can he be popular? Who's the oldest guy that's gonna rock a crowd,
right,
a stadium, and rap? Because what are we looking at? Blues singers and rock and roll bands and OG,
I mean, dude,
OG R&B
the
artists.
Rolling Stones are still touring, and like I think Mick Jagger's 78, something like that.
Yeah, if you gave me the Temptations, Diana Ross, and
you're going
the Four Tops, I'm pulling up.
I'm pulling up.
Robinson,
100%.
So I think that is my motivation right now, to do this in the 2020s, to be a part of the movie, drop 3 albums in 1 year, keep doing these big shows. I'm doing really big crowds every weekend, every month.
Yeah, and you are busy on the road.
And I'll be 59 years old this month. And I'm just like, you can't tell me. You cannot tell me stay home and sit in a rocking chair and tell old stories about being on tour.
I just had that talk with TK Kirkland the other day. TK's like, you know, he's older as well.
He's older than me.
Yeah,
that's my homie.
Yeah, TK's like, you know, it's all in your mind. You know what I mean? Like age. Like he said the same thing. He's like, no one's gonna tell, you know, the Rolling Stones to stop touring. Like,
exactly.
You know, as long as I got this game, people will pull up.
So, to the other guys that are OGs that are still pushing forward, I'm being a part of that movement, and I don't bash the young artists. I support them 100%. I like a lot of the new music. I think that a lot of stuff back in the day that we don't remember was garbage.
For sure.
And hip hop had a lot of garbage from day one until this day, and to sit there and be the kind of OG who goes, man, all that new shit is garbage, is a lie. Because most of that old shit was garbage.
Yeah.
And the shit that rose to the top was the good shit that we remember.
Right.
And we call it the golden era, these certain years. And man, with old school shit was dope. But you forgot all the whack people that, oh
came
my God, I could just go through my crates of records.
Right.
I probably stopped buying records in the early 90s. I can go through my crates and you just be like, I never heard this garbage, because I bought everything that came out. So, hey, it's never changed.
Is there anybody from, let's say, like the newer class of MCs that kind of you have a little bit, like, kind of reminds you of yourself a little in terms of just maybe subject matter, swagger?
I mean, for a while there, I was seeing the movement of like YG, like Too Short-ish.
Like I see it.
He was just, you know, he wasn't trying to be a super lyricist.
Right.
Always talking shit, pull up with all the homies and just be like, y'all can't say shit. And, you know, it was the same kind of vibe. But, you know, anybody that's spitting that game is, I think that you have DNA, hip-hop DNA. And you see it in the rappers who evolved from Jay-Z, the ones who evolved from Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? You see,
I think Simba, I mean, it's weird to say because Simba plays you in a movie, but Simba, he's like a great MC. But sometimes Simba will deliver the most ill lines in the simplest way that make people be like, and these freestyles he got, I'm like, damn, like.
So then, you know, the DNA of Too Short E40 is like considered to be that bass shit. But if you take away the geography of it and just go that game that just, I'm gonna say me and 40, because there's a lot of people that do it. But if you take just away like that's the bass shit and just say these two rappers, it's a lot of hip hop DNA that came from the game that we spit, and it's a lot of rappers that spit that game because they grew up on that. Snoop Dogg is from that lineage, you know, all the way down to guys like G Perico. Like
Perico's amazing.
It's a lot of them, and when they sit there and say, "I'm this type of lyricist, this is my look," but you still from the game. I can hear it when you rap. If all your shit got to be gamed up, like Like Guap Dad is a dope ass rapper.
Love Guap Dad.
But he gotta spit game because he comes from the game DNA.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of them. So, even Lil Russell's hot right now.
Love Lil Russell.
But he's spitting game. Listen to the punchlines.
It's real. It's easily consumable. The way he says shit, you'd be like, oh shit. Like, why nobody ever say it that way?
But he ain't say nothing about pimping and hoeing and selling dope.
For sure.
But he's still spitting game.
Yes, he is.
And that game cloth is very prevalent in hip hop. T.I. comes from that. Ball and G come from that. It's a lot of motherfuckers that if you from the UGK DNA,
right,
then you're from the Too Short DNA, because that's what UGK, they wanted to spit game. Like when they seen Born to Mac, Pimp C said, when I saw that fucking album cover, the Born to Mac, he said before he even heard the music, he said, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That shit right there.
Yo, it's crazy too, because your album covers were so ill. Like, that's one thing about Too Short. Like, bro, you got them like first, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 album covers were so fire.
I mean, look at the first Outkast album. Dre 3000 is wearing a pimp hat. That's some Too Short shit.
Yeah.
That, they probably said, what you want to do? I just put out
I got to think of the Get Where You Fit In with the
pimp
purple
hat. And then I was putting it in the videos too. I was wearing the pimp hat driving in the Cadillac. Motherfucker was like, I want that look.
Short Dogs in the House with the cartoon illustration. That was before Doggy Style, right?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's first album cover is very reminiscent of one of my album covers. And, I mean...
You were the first dog too, Wilkie.
I mean, Snoop Dogg, Short
Snoop,
Dog. You know what I mean? It's, it was... that's my guy. And
of course, you guys did a fucking album together.
As we became friends, I was kind of thrown off early on, but then we became really good friends.
Was that a thing? Cognizant? I can't think of the word, but were you like cognizant of?
I mean, they were saying bitch.
Snoop Dogg. Well, I'm Short Dog.
It was
and you're from LA. Both of y'all say bit like.
From the start, I took it as flattering, and I also the level of how it blew up. It's Dr. Dre, it's Death Row, it's blowing up. I'm like, this shit is helping me. There's no way I'm gonna rock the boat and say, man, them dudes over there stole my shit or whatever. I'm like. I immediately saw it for what it was, but when he told me, then I knew I was right. Like he said, man, we grew up listening to Too Short. They was probably like middle school bumping that shit, and fucking they put me in the studio. I started rapping and just said, bitch. I'm like, I get it. I mean, Ice Cube said it at one point. He was doing I think it was a bitch is a bitch. Mm-hmm. He gets to the end of the song, he just yell out, bitch. I think he's the first person that said it outside of me. And people go, why didn't you trademark it? Why don't you make people have to ask you permission to say it? I'm like, it wouldn't be an iconic pop thing if I controlled it and said I'm the only one that could do it. Yeah. It's a gift to the world. When I heard comedians do it, I saw sitcoms doing it. It just became something that everybody knew. You got to give a lot of credit to Snoop Dogg. Mm-hmm. For helping put that out there in the universe. And then I think when I say what's my favorite word and blow the whistle, that kind of solidifies my ownership. I really said that in the song because I overheard a conversation one day.
I mean, you have an album called that.
Yeah. And I really was on that. I'm not going to let this get away from me. I heard a conversation one day that I was not involved in, and they were saying, bitch, that's a Snoop Dogg shit. And somebody was like, no, Too Short been saying that. And they was like, no, bro, I don't know who the fuck Too Short is. That's Snoop Dogg shit. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get my shit back. And I just started doing stuff like name the album, say it in a single, just keep me my shit back a little bit. I don't care. It belongs to the world.
Right. No, but I mean, in hip hop, it's your thing.
But me and Freddie B came with that, and long before us, there was a guy named Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite, who was in movies yelling
Dolomite.
out, bitch, long before us.
Dolomite.
So
I remember Dolomite doing skits on like some Snoop albums and shit. Yeah.
So I'm not the inventor, but I put my touch on it. He yelled that in a few movies. So we give the credit to Dolomite.
What has been the craziest blow the whistle moment for you where you were like, this is insane? I mean, obviously, it gets played everywhere. Fucking Jay-Z's got a classic fucking
a lot of viral clips.
Over it.
A lot of viral clips that are funny as fuck with Blow the Whistle.
It's like no matter if you got a grandma, you got a.
I could do top 10 viral.
It's just
moments with the song, but I think the one that a clip that I could think of that stands out. I actually heard the story without seeing the clip multiple times, and it's the one about babies. There's a clip I saw where a baby is watching Blow the Whistle video, and the mom turns it off and the baby cries. She turns it on, the baby smiles, turns it off, cries. And people actually have told me that story multiple times, that Blow the Whistle is the song I play for my baby and to cheer up the baby.
That's so crazy.
And I think that if you had to go scientifically on that song, it is hitting those notes. It's something in the vibration
that can soothe.
Is hitting those notes, and it actually is probably one of the only songs I ever had that the grandmothers and the grandbabies like. So
it just got new life too when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They adopted it as their song,
and some people out there thought it was a new song.
Yeah, it's like it was just so random because you see Gilly just turning up to Blow the Whistle.
Believe me, I thanked him personally. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's good vibrations, and it. Who asked me this shit one day? Oh, Jermaine Dupri asked me. We were at a club, this is many years ago in Vegas, and he knew Lil Jon produced it because that's his boy. They like really close,
right?
And he said, "Man, I just want to ask you, he's like, what the fuck did you and Lil Jon put in that song? Like what was the ingredients?"
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, bro. Listen to it. It's basic as fuck. Like, it's basic as fuck. The production, it ain't a lot going on.
Yeah, but it's infectious, man. And it's just me and DJ Amen talk about this shit all the time when we're like, what's like the West Coast national anthem? And like that includes LA. That I'm just the entire West Coast, and it's. I just, he's got his Bay Area bias, but I think it's Blow the Whistle, dog. Like, I think it's, if you just think of the national anthem for the West Coast, obviously there's like, nothing but a G thing, and, there's records, but Blow the Whistle's the I feel like it's
Me and 40 have a lifelong friendly competition where it's okay to talk shit to each other. It's okay to critique and help each other. And I wasn't keeping tabs, but obviously he was.
Oh, I'm sure he was
keeping tabs of.
Tell me when to go versus Blow the Whistle. A lot of fans try to figure that out. Another debate.
And I forget what his logic was, but recently he said, "All right, bro, you won. Something he got. If we talk to him, he'll tell us what his logic was. But
that's funny.
They both took a long time to go platinum. They've officially platinum, but he has some mathematical equation where Blow the Whistle won. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, you already know, man. We just finished March Madness. Now it's all about the NBA playoffs, NFL football season. If you squint hard enough, you can see it coming down. But nonetheless, my bookie's where you want to get in on all the action, baby. That's right. If y'all know me, man, I love sports gambling. It's something that it is I would say a passion. I've been rocking with my bookie for at least 11 or 12 years as a client. And so it's great that now they are partners with our podcast. This is what's dope about my bookie. No matter where you're at, you go to my bookie right now, mybookie.ag, sign up for a new account using that promo code Bootleg. You're going to get that first deposit bonus up to $1,000. Yes. And right now it's all about the NBA playoffs, MLB baseball, which is, if you know what you're doing with the baseball, there's a lot of money to be made. And we got the futures. I'm going to say you got to just ride the Thunder all the way. Historically, the best net rating in NBA history when it comes to defense and offense together. They are absolutely going to murder everybody and then win against the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals It's my opinion. We'll see what happens. Nonetheless, get in on all the action. Early cash outs on your parlays. You could do your futures. Who you think is going to win the MVP? You still got a couple of days to get that in. Who do you think is going to win the NBA championship? Who do you think is going to win the World Series? And of course, they got the full service casino. I'm talking about blackjack with Blackjack Dealers Live. You could do roulette. You could do craps. You could do slots. You could do everything. MyBookie.ag. You got to use that promo code Bootleg. That supports the podcast and that gets you hooked up with that first deposit bonus up to $1,000. MyBookie.ag. Also want to give a shout out to Blue Chew. That's right, Blue Chew, man. A lot of people always keep asking me about Blue Chew. Does it work? Look, find out for yourself because you can get a free month supply. You just go to bluechew.com, pay $5 shipping. They're going to send you in a discreet package, of course, some Blue Chew. It's got the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form, sent discreetly to your doorstep. 0 visits to doctors' offices. It's all handled online. If you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, Blue Chew got you. Maybe you need a little extra pep in your step. Blue Chew got you. Damn near adds a half an inch to your for real. I'm kidding. It doesn't. I don't think we're allowed to say that, but it feels like it. Your ain't never been harder. I mean that. You're going to have all-time erections, and your partner, whether that's your wife, your girlfriend, your side, a dude, a trans dude, whoever you're, etceteras, non-etceteras, everyone's going to appreciate how hard your is as long as, they get to experience it, So you'll be thanking me later. They'll be thanking me later. Them will be thanking me later. BlueChew.com right now. You get that delivered right to your doorstep discreetly. Try it for free for a month. Please. I mean, fellas, ladies, etc. Get on that Blue Chew. I mean, what are we waiting for? Free. All right. Yeah, pay $5 for shipping and let's make it happen. Let's get back to the interview. You are, when I'm a kid, my picture of who you are is Too Short's got 100 bitches around him at all times. He's just fucking fighting bitches off with sticks. If you had to estimate, not to get into your personal business, what would you say is your body count Wilt Chamberlain like? Because you also have a song about
19,999 bitches.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a funny song.
It was hilarious, by the way. It was great.
With the animated video.
Yes.
So, Too Short is a character that I made up. And I don't think a lot of women would really appreciate Too Short per se. I've never tried to be that way with women.
In real life.
Yeah, all that bitch shit and suck my dick bitch and all that. I don't do that. I play it kind of the opposite a lot of times. Like really
like Todd is a different guy.
Really like gentlemen. But now when you get over to Todd Shaw, I've always, even before I was famous, always had like girlfriends and just like cute girlfriends, and they was like, "You little ugly motherfucker, fucked up teeth. How you get all these cute girls?" And it was just always the game. I learned it at a young age, and people come and say, "Well, what's the count? What's the count?" And I'm just like, it ain't no count. You know what it is? Like literally, like you talk to some of the people that rode with me over the years. I'm super low key with everything these days, but for fucking about a 30-year run, I had a bitch or two or three or four with me at all times. Like fall asleep, wake up, everywhere we go to lunch, go to the barbershop, it's a bitch in the car. Like I just love to be around beautiful women. So whether I would be fucking her or not, I'm like, let's go run around for a day. Let's hang out for the next 3 days, just whatever. And I had a lot of female friends who fucking dime pieces who would stay with me, pack up shit and just stay with me, and we would never even have sex. But while I'm with her, I'd probably fuck another girl and she'd just be helping me or cheering me on to some shit.
Bring her homie through. Yeah.
It's just like,
what was the most amount of women you've been with at once?
I guess I can answer that one. Oh man, I never like talking about this kind of shit, but I figure like in one night I had a over and over and over again all night with like 4 chicks, and it was just me not having a fivesome,
right?
But just all night all morning, however long, just anytime I wanted, just hit any one of the 4. And, that's not really like anything to brag on.
Nothing crazy.
Not anything to brag on,
Right.
because at some point it becomes a burden
Right.
on the individual who's supposedly, trying to pull this feat off. It's not, it's
it's
a tall task.
Yes, because...
But I tell you one thing that kind of shook me up a little bit. That got to a point, it's many years ago, that I would do my little bragging and whatnot. I would be like, "Oh, you see her over there? I hit that one time, 2 times, or whatever." And a group of like super bad bitches walked into a club or wherever we were one night, and I told my homie, I said, I fucked all 4 of them, not at the same time, like over years. I fucked all 4 of them, and he said, "You ever thought that maybe they fucked you?" And I'm like what? They passed me around? He's like, Maybe,
right?
I'm like, damn.
Hey, because that's how you would look at it if one girl fucked your whole crew.
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, we passed her around. Like, the whole crew.
And I'm like, damn.
They're looking at you. They might have looked at you the same way.
One of them told him it was cool, and then the other one tried it, and they spread me around they passed me around. So, when you think about that, and you wake up after a night of like letting 4 women have their way with you, and then you see another group of 4 women that you had over a period of time, and they're all friends. It's not a good feeling, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling. Like, if I was a pimp and those are my ex-hoes, I'd be like, yeah, them bitches got money for me. But that wasn't the case. So, after a while, I started being a little more... I was a rock star at a young age. I did that shit. I probably went on 3 tours and just was a fucking whore. But...
yeah, I mean, that was kind of the game back then.
But I've also been in love and
Right.
had long stretches of not being a whore.
Right.
So I lived life, man. I enjoyed it. And I think I remember when I was like hitting 30, and I was like, I just want to be a fun motherfucker for a while. I don't want to, man, you got to settle down. You're in your 30s. No, I just kind of want to be fun for a little while longer. This is fun. So I just have fun.
Which you have really 3 chapters of your career, but I would say like 2 definitive chapters. And it's really like, the 80s up until, let's call it like 01, 02 or whatever. But then you have this other era where the hyphy movement comes in. You start working with different sounding production. You get, There She Goes, Slide Down the Pole, and Gangsters and Strippers.
And I'm the
Blow
OG at the time. I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
40 something.
And all these records that like don't sound like old Too Short, but they make you like... like you said it earlier, like Blow the Whistle gave you career relevance forever. Mm-hmm. But like you have this whole library of songs from the last 20 years that don't sound anything like Getting It. That don't.
That song, Don't Act Like a Bitch?
Yeah.
I gave that song to E40. That song came from the Trunk Boys.
Bitch.
The Trunk Boys had the song, same hook, everything. And
the shit 50 Cent got on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Trunk Boys is a local group from the Bay, and they wanted to get me on a verse for a remix. So the producer who made the song was like, when we first made it, it was made for Too Short to get on it. So I did the remix with him, and some time went by, maybe about a year or so, and I just kept really feeling like that song was something. And I got E40 to get on it. And 40 was like, I want to put this on my album. So I called the Trunk Boys, and I'm like, hey, 40 wants to put a version out with just me and him, but because it's your song, both of us are going to give you guys a free verse on whatever you want.
Right.
And there was a lot of little drama with the song, but we did it. It comes out, it instantly a hit. Now, mind you, this was a song from their mixtape 2 years before we dropped it.
And then 50 Cent gets on and they probably feel even more like, what the fuck, 50's on the remix.
Even though we both gave them verses, they had 9 members in the group. Probably like...
That's a real Bay Area Wu-Tang right there.
Yeah, like 5 was cool and 4 was like, fuck that, that's our song. And then 40 brought him out on stage. We did a lot of shit. I really appreciate that the young homies let me do that, but they had mixed emotions about it, and I understand the whole way, but that is a big record for E40.
Yeah.
And I just literally go, here's a song. And that's how we get down though.
What is like your favorite era though? But if you had to say the two, if you divide your career kind of in half, I mean, you're kind of doing it with this new series a bit. You know?
Okay, so early on, we're just like kids, 20, 21. I even had an early career too. Like I was pretty fucking famous in the Bay before I ever put an album out.
Yeah.
And I was doing shows and having a ball and living the rap life. But when I go on tour, I was on the Straight Outta Compton tour with NWA. Easy E hit me up. You want to go? I'm going on tour. You want to go? Hell yeah, I want to go. So I go on tour with them. And DOC's on tour. Above the Law's on the tour. JJ Fad's on the tour. And I'm a fucking instant rock star.
Is that the tour TK hosted?
Yeah. He's the comedian coming out in between all the acts. 1989. And I'm a fucking rock star. Day and night, every day. Even when the tour ends, I'm still doing my too short. I'm a fucking rock star.
Right.
Next year, Ice Cube is no longer in NWA. He drops an album. He wants to go on tour. Me and him became really good friends on the Straight Outta Compton tour. So we go out, co-headline a tour. Fucking rock star. The next year, Spice One gets hot.
Shout out to Spice One, man.
I'm on like third platinum album. Like, let's go out. Me and Spice One go out. Fucking rock star.
Also on Jive, right?
Yeah. Because of me.
Yeah.
By way of, just the affiliation. But that was a lot of fucking fun. You're talking about like 5 years of just fuck it, man.
Also having fun without having to worry about social media. You know,
at a page, I'll call you back if I feel like it or not. And I think that stands out. Just that run of just being young, not having to,
not knowing better, almost.
Not having to call nobody.
Right.
I didn't have a girlfriend. I was just like floating, and that was a fun run. But then later on, I'm well established. I know how to move around. I got the right people around me. I always had good people around me, but I'm seasoned. And now I get this run with Blow the Whistle and Shake That Monkey. I literally started doing a hustle where I was like, if it's a Monday through Thursday, you can give me $5, $6, $7 grand. I'll come to your club and rap Blow the Whistle and Shake That Monkey and leave. And I would do 2-3 clubs in a night. Like I would make a lot of money on the weekends, but I would make a lot of money during the week just walking into clubs. And we were having fun. Like set me up at a table, bottles and shit.
Let's have fun.
It just looked like I'm out there just balling everywhere. I get on the mic, rock the shit. So I did that shit for probably fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
And that got me through the recession. The recession hit. I'm partying and shit. Ain't really like on my A game on like, my multiple hustles, clicking and shit. Caught a motherfucker off guard. I'm talking like 08, 09, 10.
Yeah, the
concert shit slowed down. Motherfuckers start penny pinching. But these two songs allow me to go make fucking 20 grand a week. Just fucking around if I go, or more, just doing walkthroughs. They call them the walkthrough.
Right.
Like the cheap ass promoter.
For sure.
That didn't really want to put out the flyer, Too Short Live, but I'm really only going to sing 2 songs. And they call it the walkthrough. The walkthrough was cool.
Yeah.
I don't really do them shits no more, but that was a fun era though. Like not really, I was doing shows.
Right.
The real show, but this little floating around the West Coast or wherever, popping up.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go to Scottsdale. I'm gonna go to
as a
Vegas.
40-something-year-old rapper, that shit was fun.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm every time I'm doing this to this very day, the census is you're supposed to be expired, bro. Like you're not supposed to be in Seattle last night rocking 20,000 people. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, can't stop me. So
you guys dropped Mount Westmore, which you guys did a dope run on the road with that. I think would you say that a lot of like the fans might have been a little disappointed with the album?
I think that people don't know 4 bosses, 4 egos,
4 different sounds,
4 busy schedules.
Right.
It was a very small window of everybody on the same page. And literally what I think happened was we did a lot of shit, a lot of songs, a lot of putting together the project, and then it started getting a little too close to the Snoop Dogg Super Bowl appearance. And
Snoop's on his crypto wave, tried to do the NFT thing.
He just, shit started happening, and I think that the schedules started clashing to where it would have been a tour, it would have been all this other shit, and time just ran out where that window of everybody on the same page.
Right.
It just kind of ran out. And that's my personal opinion.
That makes sense.
I'm sure you would get 4 different answers if you asked all 4 of us.
I think I talked to Cube about it. He could pretty much share the same sentiment.
But we have another album and a half worth of music that sounds really fucking good.
That's just sitting there.
And everybody's... I send a little sarcastic text messages in the group text every now and then because I'm like, I know you guys are all rich and busy and shit, but we got this dope ass album laying around. Like, let's come up with a scheme.
Yeah.
Any kind of scheme. You don't have to put the album out. We could just start putting singles out. Let's just do, what the fuck, this good ass music laying around. And I always started off with I'm like, you guys are just too fucking rich to get.
Well, yeah, Cube just got his shit out, right?
Yeah.
Missionary came out, so maybe, but it's like you said,
everybody's too fucking rich to
and busy
to give a fuck. So I think that at some point the fans are going to hear it. I think that the album that came out would have been worked if it came out a little sooner.
Yeah. And then you guys also did like an NFT release on it first, which was kind of weird. Yeah.
But then you got to flip to the positive side because I did an album with Snoop Dogg, E40, and Ice Cube.
And you did a tour.
And I promise you, I will promise you that Mount Westmore made millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. No matter where you think it landed, they have so many deals intact that it was a very good. It was
good for everybody.
It was great, and it would have been. We actually and I've never been involved with anything like this in my life. We turned down like a $20 million tour or some shit that was only probably it wasn't 20 shows. It was
you were probably like.
I mean, who the fuck does this?
Are we voting on this? Because if so, okay.
So yeah, it's that kind of. And I know I'm in this super group, and I'm like, it's not the kind of situation where you try to boss up because everybody's a fucking boss.
Everyone's a boss.
So
yeah. It's like we just got to work together, find the compromise, find the scheduling.
I took the role in the group. I'm like, I will go through all kind of links of making sure the music is organized and all the files are in the right place and all the songs get ready for whoever's gonna mix them and everybody's verse gets turned in and put in the same session and all this shit. But I'm not gonna fucking come up with the marketing plan.
Right.
I'm not telling you motherfuckers when to tour.
Right.
I'm not picking the merch company. I ain't doing none of that shit because all you boss motherfuckers know everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all know everything. My job is the music. So
yeah, let me organize everything.
Yeah, so that's what I did.
Get the sessions together, all that.
40 was our number one beat picker.
It sounds like it.
He calls himself a beat picker.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Hearing it, yeah. You know, the thing you were talking about Oakland a little bit earlier. Obviously the Bay is a crazy place right now. The bipping is out of control. It's a pretty wild place. You recently lost your brother earlier this year. I can only imagine you're still mourning that loss. How you feeling, man? Like, I mean, that was in January.
When you live the life that we live, me, my brothers, some of the homies, we survived a lot of shit, and not like I was wilding in the streets selling dope and drugs, but I've been in the streets a lot of my life, and when you're in that environment, that chance is always there. I've been around dozens of shootings. I can't even count how many times I've been around when somebody started shooting very close to where we're at. I've been in situations where close friends of mine were sworn that they were gonna murder each other, and we were all good friends. And they're like, kill that motherfucker when I see him. And I've been around, a lot of situations where we had to bury the homies. We grew up and we started burying the homies' kids through violence.
Right.
And you just think that my brother was about to be 62. And you just think that you made it past that shit. I try to stay out the way. A lot of OGs say, I try to stay out the way. But how far out the way is out the way? Because what happened to him came to find him. He wasn't out in no bullshit. It came to where he's always at. He didn't move around a lot.
Right.
And, he was just defending the spot where he was at. So, I know how it all went down. It's some town shit. It was some shit that, it's the town, bro. Like you just got to deal with it. You got to deal with it, and however which way you want to deal with it. I think I have received so many blessings from Oakland, California, that I can't blame the city for what happened. It's not Oakland's fault. The environment, whatever, created the problem that caused that, but I don't blame Oakland, not the Oakland that I love. And somebody worded it to me in a way that sticks with me, and they just said to me, they said, this town we love can really be mean sometimes, and it really can, and it can really be fun and really educational, and it's
revolutionary,
it's a lot of shit. So
yeah.
I just think that 61 years gunned down, that's an anomaly. It's not a real normal thing. So it's just some shit that happened. And my brother was the kind of person who I talked to a lot of people about this shit. Like, somebody rammed a car into the garage door, and he went out there, pistol in hand, to go see what happened. And as they were shooting at him, he was shooting at them. Most of us would have the same gun that he had. Somebody would ram that garage door, and we might probably try to be sort of strategic and like, well, if this motherfucker comes in, I'm gonna be behind here, and
right.
But my brother, he runs out shooting. That was him, and we all of us that know and love him was like, what else was he gonna do?
That's him. Yeah.
Like, I could have told him a million times, bro. You got all these angles in the building. Pop them when they come in the door.
Yeah.
But he didn't think like that.
Damn, man.
So, I don't mourn him in a way that this was a sad thing that happened. It was some town shit. It could have happened to
anybody. Yeah.
And, and that's just like I wrestle with the part about the age. I'm like, damn, we made it past it. We talk so much about all the homies, about surviving, about doing it right, about not doing stupid shit. And then this happened. So, I got a lot of love. I don't know how you would feel about it, but a lot of people reached out just to acknowledge what happened. And
right.
A lot of people that knew him and a lot of people that knew me. And, shit, that was very impactful in the industry. Like, it just...
Yeah, a lot of people knew your brother, because I remember talking to a few folks from the Bay, and he
had a lot of friends that weren't my friends.
He had a lot of high regard amongst
people that he knew that I didn't even fucking know.
Right.
So I'm just getting shit from everywhere. He also lived in Atlanta with me, so we had a lot of friends out there. He's been with me my whole life. We got a lot of people in LA, family.
Right. So
yeah, R.I.P. Wayne Loke.
For sure. All right, so this album is coming out next Friday, the first of 4.
3-part series.
The first
of
3.
Short.
Okay, that's. Well, you know why I said that? Because you told me you were doing a double album with Lil Jon, or you did 2 albums.
Well,
with
the
Lil
Jon
because you told
project
me,
will come out, and there will be a bunch of reserved songs.
Yeah, in my head,
I'm putting the Lil Jon extra songs in the same folder as the unreleased Mount Westmore songs.
Got it.
And I just listen to them, love them, keep them to myself, play them with people riding my car. They're like, "What the fuck you don't put this shit out?" I hear that so much.
That's
the
funny.
Fuck you don't put this shit out.
Listen, man, you are one of the greatest rappers of all time. I appreciate you sitting down, and I can't wait to hear the new shit, because
yeah, we're stretching the the age limit. We're swimming, floating off into the uncharted waters of hip hop. How far can this go? How far can you extend? How long can you extend it?
Do you still keep in contact with Hove at all? Or is that somebody who because he seems like such an unreachable...
Well, we never were telephone buddies.
Okay, so you guys just, it was just a work relationship.
Yeah, we get the 60-second was a...
Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, I got something for you. I'm gonna send it your way.
It's always a salute when you see him. A lot of us are like that, man. It's we don't choose to pry into each other's personal lives.
That's
but
fair.
When I see you, what's up, homie?
Yeah. Well, look, listen to the album on the 18th. Pre-order it. New single coming this week.
Still macking,
man. I'm just happy to hear it. Aunt Bakes is on.
I brought the Cadillac back too. I re-whipped the Cadillac. I called the homies in Alabama, Spokes and Vogues, and they built me a white on white Cadillac. First I had the black.
So like similar to the Born to Mac car?
Yeah, same car.
Same car.
Same car. Not the exact same.
Right, but same model, same year, whatever. Yeah.
Then I took that one, made it 3 times Burgundy, and now we all white.
I love
Triple white.
There it is, man. Short dog, too short. I appreciate you, bro.
For sure.
There it is.